Hi, everybody. I just wanted to take a couple of minutes and walk you guys through Teams, Microsoft Teams, as well as how it relates to and interacts with OneDrive, because I think there have been a lot of questions, and of course, I think everybody can learn about a couple of things here. Now, this is not a professional video. I've never done this before, so please bear with me. Okay, so the very first thing about Teams is, of course, you have your activity feed here, your chats where you can have chats with individual users as well as group chats, which is very useful. You have your Outlook calendar here. You have the calls in here, and you have some of the most recent files here. But the first thing that we're going to be looking at is the Teams function. Now, there is currently one team that is NARS US, which has around about 30 members that you can see here. These here are channels. Now, the general channel is accessible to anyone. The forecasting channel is also accessible to anyone. And then there is a private channel currently that I'm part of, which is Angela Direct Reports, where you can see here by a lock is only accessible to a few members. You can add your own channels here and add specific people to it, or it's accessible to anyone. Now, the general suggestion for channels is that it is by project, not necessarily by groups. So a project could be forecasting. It could also be latest estimates. Could also be budgets or Ulta visual merchandising updates or Nordstrom animations, whatever it is, so it stays within the logic of a project and will continuously go on, essentially. Okay, so the very other thing that I want to talk about is how does this connect to OneDrive and what are the benefits of OneDrive? So first thing everybody should do is open their Chrome or Internet Explorer or whatever it is and go to office.com. Now, office.com here is a collection of the Microsoft suite, as they are all web-based here. So you can access your Outlook, of course, here. You can access your Excel, PowerPoint, all within your browser from anywhere in the world. You don't need a VPN, just your login credentials from your Windows password from NARS. Now, when you go here on OneDrive, OneDrive essentially is a cloud-based storage provided by Microsoft that we have essentially unlimited storage in. Now, there are two different kinds of libraries. Your personal library, which you can see here, is under my name here, My Files, where I have some documents here. And then there's, more importantly, the shared libraries. Now, as you can see, and should have, NARS US is part of a shared library. There are also Project Sora, IT infrastructure, Digital Academy, and all of these things. Now, these shared libraries are not part of your personal files, which is good because if somebody is leaving the company, the shared libraries will always persist. Now, the first thing that I would suggest anybody to do is go into NARS US here and go into the documents. And then you'll see there are already two folders in here, the general folder and the forecasting status folder. And we're going to get to that in a minute. But the really important one that everybody should do is click on sync. Sync your OneDrive to your computer. Now, when you do this, you sync now, you'll probably have to click your way through it a couple of times, maybe sign even in and all that. This essentially makes OneDrive be part of your Windows. So you will always be able to find OneDrive, all the OneDrive files that you are looking for in Windows, which is very convenient. Now, as you can see here, now this is showing up in my Windows. Of course, I have my personal OneDrive file that you just saw here as well before. But more importantly, there's the Shiseido Americas Corp shared library, NARS US. And you can go into all of these folders and can see, forecast status. There are already some files in here to collaborate on. And the very interesting part now is what does this have to do with Microsoft Teams? Now, essentially, the OneDrive shared library is the underlying infrastructure of OneDrive Teams. So as you can see, there is a team, NARS US, just as there is in OneDrive. And there is forecasting status, just like there is here in forecasting status as well. So if I go into forecasting status, and currently there are no posts here, unfortunately, of course, but you can go into files, and you will see that this is exactly the same as on OneDrive. Current forecast, there you'll find all of those files here. So what is essentially happening is if you created a public channel, and I'm going to do this just as an example now. I'm going to add a channel here, and I'm going to call this channel Brand Marketing Essentials. Okay, I'm going to do privacy. Here you can select if you want it to be private and add just specific people to it, then or standard, accessible to everyone on the team. I'm going to add this. And hopefully, this has created a Brand Marketing Essentials folder in here. Now, there is, of course, nothing in here, but let's change that just as an example. So I am going to post something. And hopefully that will upload in just a second, and it should essentially appear in here as well as under files once it is posted. So this is great because you can already see if you are looking for files that have been shared with you, you can find them in different ways. You can either go on office.com and click your way through it. You can go via Teams. You can go via Windows. I would also highly suggest that everybody download all the Microsoft apps on their iPhones, meaning OneDrive, PowerPoint, Excel, Teams, etc. So that way you can access all these files on the go anywhere you are. You don't need a VPN, and you can collaborate in real time with everybody else on them, which is very useful and powerful. Okay, so clearly should have used a smaller file. I'm just going to try this. And it looks like it worked, right? So here's the file. It's also under here for the future. And yeah, and even if you go onto office.com where we currently are, let's refresh this. Now, Brand Marketing Essentials, here is that file. And one more tip that I would suggest anybody, if you go into this file to open it, always try to open in desktop app. Here is a button, because of course this is the web layout of Office that you can open from anywhere. But if you do have PowerPoint in this case on your computer, on your laptop, then you can just open here and you will have the entire capabilities of that of PowerPoint here. And of course, as you can see, this was actually a very big file, so it'll need some time, especially because I don't have the fastest internet here at home. Okay, I think you guys get the idea of where this is all going. Feel free to reach out to brand marketing if you guys have any questions on how to use this. I think it's a new day. Everybody is trying to figure it out. And we'll just try to get used to all of these things. So other than that, I would say that is this. And feel free to subscribe to my channel, give a thumbs up, and I'll see you next time in my next course. Just kidding, of course.